Hello, I'm Firebon, and I'm going to be speeding all the free-to-play quests on the speedrunning mode on old school RuneScape. With me, I've got Englishman helping out on commentary, so I'm just going to get right into it.
Want me to smash the button for you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Alright, you ready?
3, 2, 1, go.
There we go. Boom.
So first, I'm going to start with Cook's Assistant, which is basically correcting some ingredients for a cake.
It's a very easy one to start things off. You just got to get a pot of flour, an egg, and a bucket of milk. But here is where you'll see like quite a lot of deviance. So this is the like official speedrunning world. So basically the way they work is it was something that came out like a year ago now, I think. And essentially the idea is that it puts you on like everyone is on the level pegging, and you've got like an official timer and everything. There's like challenges to do it in a certain amount of time. There's like platinum, gold, silver, bronze medals, etc. And then also you can like reset as many times as you like. So like old school RuneScape or like RuneScape, you know, speedrunning in general was like a meme before. Because if you had to reset because you made a mistake, you would have to like make a whole new account and potentially train it up and stuff like that. Whereas this, you can just press a button and reset because it's like a dedicated world that just wipes your progress. And it's completely separate to like your usual character. So it means that you can just, you know, set up routes and stuff and even do like riskier tricks and things like that. But Cook's Assistant is pretty simple. But there is some deviance to how you do it usually in, you know, if you're using like RuneLite plugins or something in Quest Helper. And the first one, the sort of like major one, I guess, is you saw Simon actually go to the like the farmer that you can use to pay to protect your crops in the back of Lumbridge. There's a tree patch there. And you can actually speak to them to buy a bucket of compost, because we get, what is it, like 100 GP, I think?
Yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
Given it
Can't see, it's a small screen. But yeah, you get 100 GP, so you can use it to buy stuff that you need for the run. And you can actually buy a bucket of compost and then empty it in order to...
Forgot the egg.
Oh, you forgot the egg. Yeah, not a good time to home teleport if you haven't got the egg. But yeah, so instead of going to like the general store, for example, or like picking up a bucket, I think there's one like downstairs in Lumbridge basement as well.
Yeah,
it's much more efficient to run towards the you know the other objectives like the egg and stuff like that, and then also grab the bucket of compost on the way. So if you're looking to do like the platinum challenges and stuff, these are pretty good routes to do so.
Yeah, so unfortunately I forgot the egg, which lost a bit of time, but...
That's unlucky. So if you were, you know, on an actual proper main game now, you'd have to make a new account, do Tutorial Island just to get another crack at it. So this is finishing up the quest here. This is very simple. You literally just get the cook's ingredients and that's it. Sorted. And that's first quest down. And then, as you saw, he has the menu there. And look at that. He just teleported immediately to the start of X marks the spot, which is here. So as you can see, you can like teleport to the quest start location. And you can also, it's giving you like an energy potion, it's refilled your GP and stuff. And it also gives you appropriate stats to what you would likely do the quests in. So these are very basic quests, so you're just like a level 3 account, very standard, 10 HP, whatever. But then later on, the sort of like big quest that we're going to do is like the ending quest for free-to-play, which is Dragon Slayer 1. And for that, you'll have more like, I forget what stats you have, but yeah, you're a bit more, you have some decent stats, because a level 3, you would never be able to kill Elvarg unless you do some like...
I think I
tick manipulation stuff.
I clicked off him too early. That can
start the
happen.
quest, yeah.
Sometimes you have to finish the dialogue first.
Yeah, the sort of big there's a lot of lore in this game, as you can imagine, because it's a massive MMO, online MMO. But the big strategy is just to hold the spacebar if either you're speedrunning or you don't care about the story. You can just hold spacebar and mash through everything. But sometimes you can like click away by mistake, and you only get certain items on like specific dialogues, so you need to know like, you know, exactly when to click away. Click away a second too late and then you just miss a step.
Yeah, so this quest is basically a treasure hunt, and I was supposed to be given a scroll to give me a clue to the first area, and I didn't get given a scroll, that's why I had to go back, because I clicked off too early.
Yeah.
So given 4 locations to dig on this quest, and I've done 2 of them already.
Yeah, so this quest actually gives you, well, usually in the main game, if you complete it, it gives you access to Zaya, which is like an entire new continent that's exclusive to old school RuneScape. And I think from memory, it was like one of the first big kind of, you know, changes that they did,
Yeah,
right? So I guess if it's good to speak about as well. If anyone's wondering, so what is old school RuneScape? You know, maybe you played RuneScape as a kid and you're like, oh, well, what's old school? I just played RuneScape. So in like 2013, RuneScape released an update called the EOC, or the Evolution of Combat, and it basically turned the game into WoW. That's what a lot of people say. And it like the whole point of what people remember with RuneScape is you like click and you like swing your sword, hold your shield up, and it's like turn-based combat, right? But then Evolution of Combat completely changed that, and now you have like an ability bar and all that kind of stuff. Shout outs to Sea Shanty 2, by the way. What an absolute legendary tune. But yeah, so you would have a completely new game that nobody really wanted to play, and a load of people quit the game at that time. So then in 2014, I think, people were saying like, we want old school servers back, or like private servers or whatever, so we can play the game like it was. And thankfully, Jagex, who are the company who own and maintain RuneScape, they had a backup from August of 2007, which was like just before God Wars 1, I think, came out. Maybe my history is a bit off.
Yeah, they had that in October.
Yeah, exactly. So it was like just before the God Wars came out, back in August 2007. And that was like what a lot of people argue is like the prime of RuneScape, right? It's like everyone played it back in 2007. This is what it looks like back then. Obviously, it's slightly different because it's been like modernized. So then effectively the game sort of split into two. So you had like the RuneScape 3 Evolution of Combat people, and then you had the old school RuneScape people. And now I'm pretty sure old school RuneScape is like far more popular than the main game. Yeah. So it obviously showed that EOC was not a great update, and 80% of the player base quit. But thankfully we have the two games now, and we can go across. Yeah. So are you gonna talk about Chronicle, or do you want me to do it?
Yeah, the Chronicle just teleports you to the Champions Guild. That was something new that was added to old school RuneScape. I also was meant to get the garlic when I first went upstairs, but I don't know how I didn't get it. I must have missed it.
Yeah, it's all good.
And then we talked to Dr. Harlow, who's going to give us information on how to kill a vampire.
He's a drunkard, so you need to give him a drink. Thankfully, he's in a bar, so appropriate location. But yeah, the Chronicle is really good because you can buy it from Draenor Market, which is really close to like Lumbridge or any of those starter bits. And it's basically a very cheap teleport to Varrock, which is one of the sort of northeastern cities. So usually you could just run there, but because we have like a really low stats and a really low agility level and stuff, it would take us a really long time to run up there. And then we'd also run out of run energy, which is really bad because then we'd be walking everywhere, which is even slower. We do have the energy potions, which are the like pink potions that Simon has in his inventory. And they do actually give us, energy when we drink them, but we'd like to teleport as much as possible because it's just way faster.
Yeah, so we grabbed a training bow and training arrow, which we'll use to kill the vampire.
Yeah.
And that's what this quest basically is, to
take out Count Draenor in Draenor Manor. Yeah, he's just minding his own business, sleeping, but they want him gone.
Yeah, obviously the garlic and the steak kind of weaken the vampire.
If you're familiar with vampires in any way, this will make perfect sense.
And then I'm using a quick prayer just to help our range damage slightly.
So quick prayers they're not an exclusive feature to old school. They definitely exist in RuneScape 3 as well, but they weren't a thing back in 2007 if you played this game. But the way they work is, if you see on the top right hand side, Simon has his like health total, which is like the red, love heart, and then the blue, which is his prayer. And the prayer is something that you can use. It's a skill in the game to essentially give yourself buffs temporarily at the cost of prayer points. So you see he has, how many does he have? 30 prayer points right now. And they'll go down, like, it depends on how many prayers you use, because you can use a lot at the same time if you want to, and they drain more. But you see he's clicked on the button there, which is like the quick prayer button, and basically it just turns on any prayers that you've previously selected. So he has one that boosts his range accuracy, I think, right? It's a very basic prayer. Yeah. But obviously any boost is worth it because you're not going to be using prayer. It all gets reset at the end anyway, so you might as well use any buffs you can. But yeah, so range is pretty overpowered, and as you can see, he's just massacring the vampire, even with like the most basic
RNG heavy, this one.
Yeah. So, yeah, one thing you will see quite a lot is, as Simon alluded towards, is there's quite a lot of luck involved in these kind of speedruns, especially if you're going for like big times. Because the way the combat system works is, in old school RuneScape at least, is you simply click on a target and you attack at a set interval. So every single weapon has intervals, big two-handed swords attack slower, little daggers will attack faster. And it's entirely, luck-based what you hit. Obviously, there are things to increase your hit, like a a more powerful weapon will have a higher max hit and a lower minimum hit. But essentially, every weapon has like a range of what they can possibly hit based on your gear and your strength level and things like that. And also how accurate you are. So you can just entirely miss your attack. So it's entirely possible that Simon could hit every single time on a monster and kill it in 30 seconds. Or he could, miss or splash, as it's called in this. Well, I guess splash is more of a magic thing, but yeah, you get what I mean. Like, you can miss your attack, or you can even hit, but then hit a 0 as well. So that's always great. And you can, so you can spend like 2 minutes on a boss, or you can spend 10 minutes. There's not a lot Simon can do about it.
Yeah, so in most cases, we try to get the best gear we can get shortest time possible.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So that does kind of make our hits less accurate, but it's the fastest way to finish the quest.
If you're doing the quest in the main game and you're having trouble with a boss because you're not hitting hard enough or whatever, you can just go and train your stats and come back, and you'll have a much higher chance because you'll just do a lot more damage and take a lot less. Obviously, in the speedrun world, you're fixed to a specific set of stats, so whatever you have is what you have. You can't level up or anything in this.
So in quests like this, it gives us a bit of a agility level just to allow us to run a little bit longer.
Yeah.
And that's the case for most of the quests.
Yeah, and it also gives you some food, which is just 2 fish in his inventory, just because there's like a skeleton and stuff that you run past that might hit you and do a bit of damage. But this quest is pretty simple. It's usually one of the first ones you do. Because quests gives you a number of quest points, which you can use for certain things, like the Champions Guild that we mentioned before. You need to get 32 quest points to gain access, and it has like weapons and stuff that you can buy. And there's also quests inside the Champions Guild, so you complete quests to gain access to more quests. And it's typical MMO stuff. You play it for 6,000 hours, and then you can finally play the game after that. Once you've done all the grind. So yeah, the quest points that you get. For some reason, a lot of the early quests give you a stupid amount of quest points. So it's like, even if they don't give you a huge reward, it makes sense to do them purely for the quest points, and this is one of them. This quest gives you 4, I think, off the top of my head, which is really high for, usually like Grandmaster quests will give you like 2 or 3, and they're like hours long, unless you're speedrunning them.
Because I used to speedrun a category called Champions Guild %, which would make a new Iron Man account, and then you'd get enough quest points to enter the Champions Guild.
Yeah, the Iron Man is a good point, actually. I forgot to mention that. So Iron Man mode, if you're not familiar, basically means that you're entirely self-sufficient, and that's what these quests and these worlds are all based around. So if you're familiar with Runescape, you'll know that the Grand Exchange exists, which is where you can like buy items from other players. So you might think to yourself like, oh, could you maybe make a lot of money and buy something really cheap from another account? No, you can't do that. Because you're an Iron Man, which means that you can't trade with other players. You can't pick up dropped items from other players. You can't buy stuff from shops that other players have sold to the shops. So everything that you do has to be done like within the world without any other player interaction. And because you're set in this like kind of instance world, you also can't get like your Big Brother's account to come and smash a boss for you or anything like that. It's not possible. So you've got to do it all by yourself, all starting from scratch essentially.
So yeah, this was Ernest the chicken. Basically, a man's been turned into a chicken, and we need to help turn him back. We don't need to talk to this guy before the quest. We can get all the items, then start the quest, and then...
And oh, how coincidentally, again. I have all the things that you need. That's so... that's crazy.
Did he say he's missing? Oh, for some reason I had to talk to him again then.
Yeah. So yeah, if you were doing these sort of quests the intended way, you would have to go upstairs to see what the actual problem is. But the good thing about it's kind of like non-linear is you can get all the stuff beforehand. There are actually some quests, like Doric's quest, for example, where the entire quest, if you know what you're doing, is you go to somewhere and they say, can you bring me these items? And you say, yes, I've already got them with me. And there's even like unique dialogue, because the developers knew that people would... on a second account or a third account, they would bring in the items already because they know that, the quests are always like static, they're always the same. Or, well, some of them have random items that you need to get, but most of them are static things that you need to get. So yeah, like if you go to the cook's assistant, for example, and you already have all the items with you when you talk to him for the first time, there's unique dialogue where you say like, oh, what are the chances I've guessed that you had, that you needed those exact things, and I just happen to have them all with me in my backpack. And he's like, oh, that's very strange, but thank you, that's very kind.
Yeah, because I know people used like Rune HQ back in the day, but now there's the wiki. It gives you a lot of the items you need before, so you can easily do the quest.
Yeah, the wiki is like one of the best in any MMO. It's like, if you've ever used the quest guide on the wiki, it tells you exactly what you need. It gives you a checklist, so you can even like check off the things that you don't have.
Very helpful.
And you can even log into the wiki because it's officially endorsed by Jagex. So you can log into the wiki and it will automatically tell you what requirements you have and what you haven't got. So if you haven't done a quest that's required, it'll tell you, it'll put an X next to it, which is very nice.
Yeah, very helpful for... talk to the wrong guy. Very helpful for new players.
Yeah.
So this is Black Knight's Fortress. We're basically helping to stop this master plan from happening. I brought an iron chain body and now I'm buying a bronze med helm. So I look like the classic guard barrack, so I can go into the building.
Yeah, I'm gonna infiltrate the fortress. And in Draenor there, if you're wondering how he just got all the way from, Lumbridge, excuse me, to all the way to Barbarian Village, which is usually quite a trek, there's actually an NPC called Count Check or something. It's supposed to be like a pun on a count check. And if you've never spoke to him before and you're a completely new player, which we are because we've, a fresh new account that's just reset on the reset worlds, you can talk to him and he will offer you a free one-time teleport to the Stronghold of Security, which is where you can learn about like account security and things like that, how to set like passwords on your account and, learn not to get scammed by giving your passwords to like fake moderators and all sorts of the classic MMO scams that people fell for as a kid. Don't let anyone trim your armor, things like that. So yeah, you can teleport to Barbarian Village, which is very useful because it's right next to where we need to go for the Black Knight's Fortress, which is just north. And also, it's right next to a helmet shop where you can purchase the bronze med helm that you need. So the sort of like big conflict in this is that all of the, regardless of, you infiltrate in, but then you just get attacked by all the knights anyway, and they're a lot higher level than you usually. So you've got to, and this place is kind of like a labyrinth. You can see Simon's going up and down all sorts of different ladders. So if you don't know where you're going, it can be quite scary because you can get mashed out by the guards.
Yeah, basically just listening to their plan here. The knights can hit 4s, so I've died on this quest in the past.
Yeah,
because of having 10 HP.
Yeah. And the biggest, most important thing you need to do, I don't know if you can do it on this world, but I know you usually can, is the cabbage. You need to put it in like a chute or something to like send it into a witch's cauldron to like make it blow up and foil their plans. But you can accidentally click on the cabbage because it's a type of food that you can eat at the same time. So a classic is you can accidentally eat the cabbage and then you've got to go and get another one, and that's obviously pretty bad. Yeah, luckily there are cabbages, as you can see there to the east. There are cabbages in the Edgeville Monastery there, so yeah, got to be very careful to use the item and just Kobe it in this hole.
Yeah, and I got through there quite easily because of the dialogue at the door. The knight can hit you and kind of block it off. Yeah,
it is very annoying that like you're not like in any kind of instance when you're talking to people. So sometimes quests expect you to go into a place full of aggressive monsters or whatever, and then speak to somebody. But then if you get hit, it knocks you out of the dialogue, and you've got to like safe spot yourself somewhere, and it's pretty silly.
Yeah, so I clicked out of as soon as the cabbage dropped down, I clicked out because that can be a lot faster. If there's any donations, it could be a good time as I'm just running back to finish the quest.
Thank you. We have a $16 donation from YTP_renewed2 saying, "Who needs story in a video game? The only story you need for a video game is the podcast to which you listen while playing it. Thank you for your kind donation and your wise words. And remember, you can put your donations towards bid wars and incentives. We have one coming up for Final Vendetta in about 3 hours, and you can make the choice for which character skin will be used for the run. Thank you."
I wonder how many people, there's like the whole thing of like, how many people actually bother to read the lore when they do quests versus how many people just smash through it for the XP. You a lore guy, Simon?
No, not really.
No?
It's just space spammer and read the wiki.
Yeah. See, I am a lore person. I do like the lore of these games, but at the same time, I'd much rather just watch like a, RuneScape lore in 5 minutes video on YouTube or something, rather than like trying to deduce all this medieval dialogue. Like, I don't know, man.
There's a YouTube channel that goes into lore and like history and stuff.
Yeah. Watch a lot of RuneScape Historian.
Yeah.
He's a good lad.
So we're just coming up to the end of this now. That's why it's important to kind of keep your run energy up, so you can finish the quest quicker.
Yeah, and you saw Simon actually drop all of his stuff there because he doesn't actually need the food or the armor or anything anymore, and it actually weighs you down. So there's a weight system in this game, and if you have too much weight, like it's sort of a scaling system. So the more heavy things that you carry, the more quickly your run energy drains. It's also scaled off things like your agility level, but weight is also a big thing. So it's much more efficient if you want to keep your run energy high to drop anything that you don't need, especially if it's just like food and stuff like that. If you're just running towards the end of the quest, it's very unlikely you're going to get massacred by somebody. Then again, you are in Falador, so you might have got wrecked. You never know.
So I just need to write this down so I know what it.
Yeah, everyone note this down. It's very important. Everyone get your notepads out, or like take a picture of the screen or something, because this is actually one of the things that I talked about before. So like most of the things in quests are actually static, but some things like this incantation, which we need to banish the demon in Demon Slayer, is actually random for everyone. Like every time you do the quest, it's randomized, and if you don't note it down, then you need to go and figure it out. Later on, like, oh, you forgot it, and you need to go back. So it's much better to just, write it down.
Yeah. If you do forget it, you can just talk to her again. But obviously, that loses a lot of time.
Yeah, it's slow.
So basically, someone killed the demon before with silver light, and now one of his ancestors has access to it, but it's locked behind 3 keys.
We need to get the keys back. One of them is just with an NPC that you talk to. The other one, it's stuck in a drain, so you have to wash it down into the sewers. And then the other one is owned by a wizard in the wizard's tower, and you need to give him 25 bones. So this is where you're going to see kind of like game mechanics abuse a little bit, because usually, assuming that you don't just like buy the bones from the the Grand Exchange or something, you would have to like kill 25 monsters and pick up their bones, but that's very slow. So instead, there are different spawns around the map of bones, and you can only pick them up, and then they respawn every, like, I don't know, 5 minutes or something. I don't remember exactly how long it takes. But, so that would obviously be very slow to sit and pick up a bone spawn and then wait 5 minutes and then pick it up again. We'd be here all night, and tech would be very upset at us if we did that. So instead, we're actually going to hop worlds. So we're going to change to a different game world. There's all sorts of different worlds and servers and stuff that you can connect to. And obviously, the item spawns are separate on every single world. So if you pick up a bone spawn and then hop to the next world, as long as nobody's picked up that bone spawn in the next world, you can pick it up again, and we can just keep going through the worlds. Yeah. I forget how many speedrun worlds there are, but there's enough to hop through and keep picking up more bones.
And by the time you go back to the first world, you're on there to spawn back.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's quite good.
Yep. So we've got the first key already, and then we've just washed the second one down to the sewers. This one is just as simple as running through the sewers. It's not too difficult to get. The one where you've got to get the 25 bones is like the kind of long one, especially if you're an Iron Man.
Yeah.
And also, it's worth noting that Simon only has 28 inventory spaces. You can see he's got a 4x7 grid on the bottom right. And that, for all intents and purposes, that's the amount of items you can carry. There are exceptions. There are like boxes and stuff that you can put certain items into, but we don't have access to any of that kind of stuff. So if we were to pick up 25 bones, we would have to drop like our food or our coins to, make up for that. So we're going to do a bit of like item juggling later on, because you can drop items to the floor and they won't despawn for a little while. I forget how much it is in these like instance worlds, I'm not sure. And then we're also going to put stuff into our bank, which is literally just like an item storage chest.
I've got what I need. So.
Yep. And Simon also used the mini games teleport there. So there is a home teleport that you can use that will take you to Lumbridge or Edgeville, which is this city here if you've set it to that, but most people remember it as Lumbridge by default. And you can use that every 30 minutes real time. So it's a useful thing that you can use every now and again, and it gets reset when we start a new quest, for example. But we can't continuously use it, and obviously most of this quest takes, precedent all the way up north anyway, so Lumbridge teleport is not particularly useful. But you have a mini-games teleport which resets every 20 minutes that is completely separate to the home teleport.
Yeah.
And that can teleport you to any mini-game that you have access to. So Soul Wars, you don't need any special requirements. And it actually has a portal in Edgeville that takes you to Soul Wars.
Yeah.
So you can use that to teleport to the Soul Wars minigame and then leave out of the portal, and it's essentially a free teleport to Edgeville.
Yeah, so there's a lot of helpful stuff for especially newer players that don't have the magic level to get around as easily.
Yeah. If you remember playing as a kid and like walking all the way around the map for, you know, like hours to get to like certain destinations, that's like not a thing anymore. Well, you can do it, of course, if you want to, but yeah, you mostly teleport around quite a lot now. Did you know that they finally raised the max cash limit exclusively in RS3?
Oh no, I didn't.
Like a few weeks ago, I saw it on Reddit, yeah. So now you can have like 7 quintillion gold before you hit the max cash limit.
Did they not have something like, you know, they have platinum tokens in?
Yeah.
Did they have something like that in RS3?
They use spirit shards for summoning, if you remember that.
Oh yeah.
It's a skill that came out in like 2008, so it's not in this one. But yeah, they're worth 2 GP each, so they use, it's basically like a second currency that you can use. And yeah, old school Runescape has platinum tokens, which are very similar. Yeah, it's a random tangent, but just talk about it while we're opening worlds. Yeah, you can hold 2.147 billion gold at any one time in like your bank or your coin stack here. It's just to do with like 32-bit integer maximums nerd stuff. You don't need to care about it. But yeah, in RuneScape 3 exclusively, they increased it after. How long has this game been a thing? Since like the late 90s, this has been a thing.
Early,
25 years later, they finally made it so you can have more gold. Because as you can imagine, people play this game like all the time, right? Because it's an MMO, so it's like a grindy MMO. So there are some people that are like quadrillionaires in this game, and they always complain because, oh, I can only have 2 billion of my 4 quadrillion gold in my inventory at any one time. And believe it or not, there are actually items that are worth more than the maximum cash that you can have. So you're not able to like purchase them on the Grand Exchange or anything because you can only put that amount of money in. Yeah. So you have to like go on the RuneScape forums or like meet people in game and hope they don't scam you. And it's a horrible like underground black market, arms dealing kind of thing.
It's an RS3 with mainly like party hats, and on RSRS you have
like third age pickaxes and stuff. They're like stupidly rare items.
I'm just gonna buy 2 Chronicles here because I'll be teleporting to Champions Guild twice to get back to Varrock.
Yeah, so the Chronicle is the book that he has, and then you have the teleport cards, and each card gives you 1 charge, right? I think?
Yeah.
Yeah. So essentially, it's like a one-time teleport, but you can repeatedly purchase more and more cards, and everything's extremely cheap. The cards cost like 10 GP or something. It's nothing.
I'm just gonna, because I have an energy potion spare, I'm just gonna drink one of them, just to make it a lot easier for later on.
Yep. So now he's got the 2 keys, he's got more energy, and he's got 25 bones. And now he's gonna head towards the Wizard's Tower, which is where the 3rd key is. And then after that, he's gonna grab Silverlight, which is like the big sword that you can use to slay the demon. And yeah, and then it'll be killing Delrith. The big problem with killing Delrith, especially when you're at a lower level like this, is if you guys remember when you were a kid, there was like a whole big trope around walking from Lumbridge to Varrock, and there was like a lot of like dark mages that were outside the Varrock entrance, and they were level 8 or something. They were like no real threat. But if you were a new player, you're level 3, they would potentially kill you. So it was like a huge thing back in the day where people would die to the dark mages and like lose their items and stuff. And at this level that we're currently at, those dark mages will aggro onto you by default. So if you're I forget exactly how it works. It's like if you're like double their combat level plus 1 or something
like that.
Then they won't be aggressive to you because they're like really low level. There are some NPCs that will attack you no matter what, and some that don't attack you no matter what. It's like the guards don't attack you no matter what, unless you hit them back, or unless you hit them first, excuse me. But yeah, so those dark mages will be hostile if you're a certain combat level, and we're in that combat level range.
Yeah.
And the other issue is, the reason why that's a problem is because if a Dark Wizard then attacks you, you then can't attack Delrith, because this is what we call a single combat zone, which means that you can only be in combat with 1 entity at a time. Yeah. So if Simon gets piled by all the Dark Mages, he won't be able to attack the demon and progress the quest. And as you can imagine, if you're going for like world record times, that can kill a run, just because the Dark Mages can screw you. Yeah.
So I'm just getting Silverlight now, because I've got no... it will automatically weld it, and then might just wait a little while around here just to get some run energy.
Yeah,
I think there's 3 areas you can run into to make this cutscene happen, and when you run out, it kind of resets the aggro of the Dark Wizards.
Yeah. Yeah, so this like instance that you see here isn't what's actually going to happen. You see you walked in and it's a completely different like instanced area where the boss fight happens. So you can leave and then it will spawn a new instance in when you re-enter, and the Dark Wizards will be in a new randomized location, essentially. So, with any luck, he will be able to attack Delris right away. But if not, you can sort of run... You can either like run around the pillars to try and reset the aggro, or you can just run out and in again.
Oh,
yeah.
Messed up there.
It's all good. Luckily, the actual demon is pretty... You might want to turn auto-retaliate off maybe as well, so the Dark Wizards don't... Yeah. That's just a mechanic that makes you automatically attack back. And obviously it's like luring him towards the wizards. There you go.
Yeah.
But as you can see, the actual demon himself is no threat at all, so it doesn't really matter too much. You got him?
Yeah.
Reckon you can do it on 9 HP?
Run out a little bit. Ah.
Yeah, so this is what I mean about the Dark Wizards. They can be like extremely annoying.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna run out a little bit. Yeah, because it's a level 20 one, so this level 7 will leave me alone.
Yeah.
But it's just the
Classic.
Oh, I
This
don't.
guy's massacring you.
Yeah, I've done.
Unlucky.
Yeah, if I was better with the run energy.
Fortunately, you can just...
Yeah, I might just move on to the next one.
Oh, you could just run back up now because you don't like kill the run, right? So you could just go back up to Varrock and fight him again.
Yeah,
It's obviously it's not ideal,
Yeah.
but you've got enough time.
that's why I put such a high.
Yeah.
estimate.
Yeah. So this is the classic run to Varrock. It'll only take about a minute or so. But time for donations in the meantime.
Yes, thank you. We have a $5 donation from Isaiah saying, "Does pen and paper make this a tool-assisted speedrun?" Well, you be the judge.
The wiki certainly does. That's yeah, definitely. It's also worth noting as well while Simon heads back is if you... So we're playing on like the official Jagex client that you can use. But there are like third-party clients that you can use if you wish to. The most popular one is called RuneLite, and that has plugins that like community members have developed for the plugin. For the client. And that has one of the most popular ones is called Quest Helper.
Yeah.
And it essentially like hooks into your game and sees what like part of the quest that you're up to, and it tells you what to do, and it tells you like what, you know, dialogue to press and things like that. So it's like a really good way to smash through quests if you're not a big quest fan.
Yeah, so I'll probably just do more running in and running out.
Once you attack him once, can you not just like stay on him?
Okay.
Yeah. There you
Yeah, so now we're able to attack him.
go. Yeah. And now the Dark Wizard can't attack Simon as well. And now he's just gonna use the incantation. So if he messes this up, it actually resets the fight, which isn't really a big deal, but good to not do so.
Yeah, so a bit unfortunate to die.
Yeah. I mean, what would a RuneScape run be without a Dark Wizard attacking you and killing you, right? That's the whole point. It's for that, you know, sweet nostalgia. There you go.
And I'm just gonna run away so I don't get attacked.
I'm proud of you, Simon. We got through it. You can see, like, even though he's completing the quest, he's still getting banged out by the Dark Mages. Like, they just never quit.
So next is Prince Ali rescue. We're just gonna rescue Prince Ali, who's locked up at the moment.
Yeah. So this is Al-Kharid, which is actually right next to the starting area of Lumbridge. And it's like the sort of desert town. There's an entire desert, like, area as well. And there's, like, the swamp areas and all sorts of this game. But you might not see it too much if you're not too familiar with the game. This quest has a lot of running back and forth between here and Draenor Village. So the game actually gives you a different potion that you can see in Simon's inventory called a stamina potion. So these stamina potions are like the most overpowered potions in the game. The regular energy potions, all that they do is you get 10 more run energy, which is like the yellow boot on the top right of your screen, and it just, you know, makes it so you can run longer, right? But the stamina potion, it not only gives you 20 points, which is double what a regular energy potion would, but it also gives you a buff that you can see the boot has like changed color to like orange or gold. And what that has essentially done is I forget what the stats are, but it basically makes it so you get more run energy, and it also drains far less quickly. Yeah. So you can run for much longer. As you can see, Simon's like barely losing any run energy.
Yeah, it gives a nice little boost, especially when you're doing quests and you've got heavy items.
Yeah, exactly. It's like they're like essential to do quests like quickly. So yeah, I forget how long it lasts for, like maybe a minute or two.
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah. Simon's playing on the tiniest window you've ever seen. So I know it does say somewhere, but I can't see it.
Yeah, people, like Ben said, people can use Runelight and the quest helpers, but I kind of like having it as standard as possible. But you can use Runelight to like literally show you the exact path you should go.
Yeah, like exactly what to do, what items to take to what quests and stuff like that. It is very useful. Simon's a boomer minimalist, so. This area around the southeast of Varrock has a lot of items that we need. There's like red berries, there's some copper ore that we'll need later, and essentially the idea of this quest is that we need to like fool the guards in Draenor Jail, gain access to the jail, and then there's like a lady, I forget what her name is. She's some kind of like royalty or like in a gang or something. I don't remember. She's some notable character that I don't remember because I master the dialogue. I don't know what. She's important somehow. And we need to get the key from her, right? And we make like a mold, and then we duplicate the key into some clay to make our own version of the key to then break out Prince Ali.
Yeah.
Who's like a prince. Well, obviously Prince Ali rescue, of course. Yeah. So he's like the Prince of Al-Kharid. And I don't remember why he's been tied up.
And for some reason, she trusts us enough to look at the key and then...
Yeah. Even though we've literally known each other 45 seconds.
Yeah. So yeah, we're going to buy a skirt here for the disguise, and then we're going to get a blonde wig later on as well. So the prince becomes like unrecognizable.
Question for you, Simon. Would you ever trust someone who's sprinting at full speed, drinking liquids as he goes, like running into every shop, screaming at the shopkeeper to like sell you these random items? No, and he's like, "Hi, I would like to see your most prestige prisoner, please." No, I would not let him anywhere near.
So I fill up these buckets because I need one for the soft clay and then I need one for the skim paste that we'll be making later on.
There are water sources like all around the game, and they just give you infinite water so you can fill like infinite buckets up.
So I buy 3 beers, as this is what we give to the guard later on to get him drunk, so he's like not capable of knowing what's going on, so we're able to tie up.
There is an alarming amount of times in RuneScape quests where the way that you get what you want is by forcing people to drink alcohol of some kind. Like, everyone can be easily convinced by just giving them a beer. No, sorry, I'm not going to do that. How about another beer? Yeah. No, sorry. How about another beer? And then until they like just can't.
Yeah, there's a few quests where you're giving drinks to guards or whatever.
Yeah.
To distract them.
Just it's like distract them or bribe them or whatever. It's medieval times, you know. Bribery was okay back then, I'm sure. So, this is Draenor Jail just up to the west here. This is another classic thing that people might have been killed by, because if you run north to Varrock, you have to deal with the Dark Mages. Yeah. If you run west to Draenor through here, then you might have ran into the Draenor Jail Guard, and he's aggressive to you, depending on your combat level, and he's like level 20 something, so he can easily smack you about, if you're not careful.
Yeah, I've got 2 onions there. You can get unlucky and get an onion seed, which is what happened with me, and that's useless to us at the moment.
Well, if you pick the onion, you can just get a seed instead.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know you could get that, actually.
So it'd be useful if it gave you the onion plus the seed, but
it just gives you the seed. Yeah. The one time that you don't want something like that. That's interesting, I didn't know that. So the onions are used to make dyes, right? You have to make yellow dye. Yeah.
So yeah, we're back to the windmill again to get some more flour for the skim paste.
This is the thing with Iron Man, like you either love it or you hate it, because you do kind of have to like role play a bit, and it's like, oh, I need wheat. Okay, well then I need to go to the mill and make it myself. But some people are like, nah, sod that, I'm just gonna go and buy it. Like I can't be bothered to wait around.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend trying Iron Man to see how you get on with it, because there's leagues as well, which me and Ben have played before.
Yeah, leagues are awesome. Best thing to ever happen to this game.
So yeah, we just chat to her about her plan, and she just happily tells us about what's happening.
Someone that you've just met, like, oh, what are your devious schemes? And she's like, oh, well, please don't tell anyone, but...
And then we got an imprint of the key because we say we're going to show it to our grandchildren because it's going to be historic.
Classic excuse. It's just absolutely classic.
So yeah, we're running back to Osmond now. Actually, yeah, to give him the key print, and he'll make the key for us.
Yeah.
And then he'll give it to his daughter Leela, who's in Draenor Village, convenient, just standing there. So yeah, I'm going to run through the castle, and then I'm going to light a fire outside because we need the ashes. And conveniently, the ashes appear by the time we run back from Alcarid to Lumbridge.
Yeah, so the easiest way to get a set of ashes is just to, burn a log and then just leave it to die out, and eventually ashes will spawn in its wake. So instead of waiting for the fire to burn out, you can go and do other tasks and then come back, grab them on the way. It's a lot more efficient. The Leagues game mode is awesome, that Simon was referring to. They didn't do one this year, which is really sad. They usually do it like January time, like November previous year to January or something.
Around that time.
Yeah, but the idea of Leagues is that, like, everyone gets reset and you all get fresh accounts, but there's like heavily multiplied XP, so you might get like 10 times XP. So then you can skip all the early game stuff and you can get to the fun part of the game, right? And everyone starts and it's all like a very competitive, and you get points based on like challenges that you can do. So like, killing Elvarg, for example, might give you 30 points. And then those points can be redeemed like in a shop to get like exclusive rewards, or you can, like the last one that we did, you can unlock relics, which gave you like really overpowered buffs. So there was one where you could like attack at like more frequent speeds, you get like double health regeneration and stuff, and then you can just use that to just become like the most overpowered account in the first week, and it's really fun. It's really good to do.
Because it's area locked, your best item might be a Dragon Med helm.
Yeah, exactly. And they usually have like unique challenges as well. So the first one, it was Zaya, right? Like they locked everyone on Zaya and you couldn't leave. So you were locked on an island altogether, like Castaway style, basically. And and you just had to deal with, you were all Iron Man, so you can't trade between each other. And it's just whatever's on Zaya is what you've got to build your account. And those kind of things are really fun because you never really think about it until you try it. Because you're like, oh, what weapons are on Zaya? Like, what things can I kill to get good drops? Like, I have no idea.
So the planning part can be quite fun.
Yeah.
Because it's a whole new experience.
Yeah. And you always get those mega geeks who write that, like, 15-page thesis on the most efficient route for every single league, and you can just follow along and pretend that you're contributing to... it's good stuff.
And then they realise what they're doing actually isn't that good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the Iron Man mode is fun. I remember I enjoyed Iron Man up to like late game PVM, which is like where you got to kill like bosses and stuff. The reason why I didn't continue it was because it was like super annoying. So if you want to get like a bowl of flour or whatever, it's quite simple to get, right? And it takes you another 30 seconds or so. But then what happens if you want to get like a rare drop that's like a 1 in 500 chance from a boss? You can't buy it, so you have to kill the boss repeatedly to try and get the drop. It's the only way to get it. But then the issue is, there's a 1 in 500 chance. You could do 2,000 kills of that boss, get unlucky enough, and not progress your account in any sort of meaningful way.
That's the only downside, really, of Iron Man.
That's
but
what
it can make it quite fun, very rewarding when you do get that drop that you need.
As long as you don't run out of patience, which I did.
I forgot to actually collect the flowers, so I need to go back for that.
Nice.
But I'll get the die now here, and then I'll get the key, so all I have to do is run back and talk to Aggie.
Yeah, fortunately it's not too much of a detour to go back to Lumbridge.
Yeah, because I try and have the wiki up as well, just in case I forget something like getting a bucket of water. I'll get to the end of the quest and I've forgotten to fill up the bucket, then it's quite...
Yeah, it makes sense.
A long way to go back to fill it up, but yeah, I'll be collecting the flour and then going to get the key and the skin paste.
Yeah, I definitely want to do an OSRS Iron Man at some point, because my Iron Man that I did was RS3 because I made it like years and years ago. And the grind that just like completely killed it for me was, I don't know if you know much about RS3. Quite much of it. So Zamorak in God Wars 1, Krill. that boss there in RS3 drops a set of like tier 70 magic armor, and it's like power armor, so it has like increased accuracy and stuff like that. So it's like a really good like mid-level sort of mid-end game thing to get. And I did like a stupid amount of kills. Like I was there like several hours a day trying to kill this boss, and the only thing I got was the shield, which is like the most useless one, classic. And eventually, I just got so bored of killing the same boss over and over again and just getting nowhere that I was like, man, I can't be bothered with this. Like, obviously, I could have just moved on and done something else, but I'm too stubborn, too stuck in my ways.
Yeah. That's the thing. A lot of this game is grinding, whether it's levels or items.
Yeah.
So we've got everything we need now. So, like we said earlier, we're going to use the beer on the guard.
Yep.
He's going to happily take 3 beers and drink them on duty.
That was down 3 pints right in front of us. Absolute legend.
And then we go through here and talk to Prince Ali and give him the disguise.
There's a bit of a skin paste, a skirt, and what else do we have? Or is that it? I think
the wig.
Oh yeah, the wig. That's enough to convince whoever it is. Completely different person. In the one jail cell. They literally have one prisoner in one jail cell. So you would think that when that one person steps outside that one jail cell, they would think, oh no, that's our prisoner. But like, it must be prisoner number 2 somehow.
You've also got the guards outside who are just oblivious to it.
Yeah, exactly.
This is a group teleport to Giant's Foundry, which is basically underneath where the Jewel Arena is, which is now called P4B Arena.
Yeah, rest in peace to Jewel Arena. Yeah, the Giant's Foundry is actually like a fairly recent thing, right?
Yeah,
Maybe it came out like a year or so ago, something like that. Maybe 2 years ago. I don't know, my OSRS knowledge is way off, but yeah, it's like a smithing mini game with a bunch of like hill giants, and you make big swords for them or big weapons. And it's very beneficial for this particular speedrun because it's right next to Al-Kharid, so you can use it as a free teleport. And I think the grouping teleport system has a separate timer to the mini-game teleport and the home teleport, right? There's actually a third teleport that I didn't tell you about because I didn't know it existed until just now.
I think they merged minigame into...
Oh, did they?
Okay. But
all the same one.
On this quest, there's another way you can do it, which is dying to nettles.
Oh, yeah, you can just death
can be slower or faster depending on your RNG.
Yep. Yeah, you can just go to like a certain place and just like try and pick up nettles without gloves, and it damages you, and you can just keep doing that over and over again.
Because then you end up in Lumbridge with full run energy.
Yeah.
So this is below Ice Mountain. This is quite a new to OSRS. Just
I don't think I've ever done this quest because this is a new one.
It's basically about an archaeologist that wants to find more treasure.
I think the most recent skill in RuneScape 3 was archaeology, right?
Yeah, from what I've heard.
Yeah.
They've got for anyone who hasn't played RS3, they've added quite a lot of new...
It's a completely different game, like if you watch it. If you go on Twitch right now, and you look at like old school RuneScape, go to the top streamer, it'll look very similar to what you are used to when you're a kid. You go to a RuneScape 3 stream and it's just... Even if you're familiar with like old school RuneScape, it'll look nothing like it. It's completely different. But it is fun in its own way. It is quite fun.
So basically on this quest, we're gathering like a team together to help with the treasure that Willow wants to find. And this is one of them where he wants to drink from us, and then we play rock, paper, scissors, but we win whatever option we select because we're so out of it.
So out of it, it's the continuing trope of just give your opponent alcohol, and with enough, you'll just win no matter what. It's also like the dwarf stereotype, right? Because they're a whole like, oh, dwarfs love to drink. Very cute cutscenes as well.
Yeah, nice.
Straight back to Lumbridge.
There's also something to mention. On some quests, you can do things before the quest to help you during the quest, whether that's getting a monster to low HP and then basically one hitting it during the quest can save a lot of time. I'm just not doing that setup on here because
it's slower, like real time start to finish, but it would be faster in-game time to do so. You can also I think you can open certain doors and cupboards and stuff like that ahead of time because otherwise they'll be closed, but you can open them ahead of time. I think at one point when it was first released, it's like everyone was like doing the speedruns like because it was new content. And then there were some people that would go and just like shut the gates in front of everyone to like ruin your runs. But now I think they made it so all the doors are just open, right?
Yeah, or things are unique to that player.
Yeah. Because like, you know, there's always someone who's going to ruin the fun for everyone else.
Yeah.
And they would just, like slam the doors shut constantly. So if you tried to like, you know, click on the map like Simon's doing to like run quite a far distance, you would just end up going around because the game can't path you through the closed door. And it's just,
Also, with pathing, you want to try and keep a straight path as possible. Other your players just going to go from side to side. Yeah. So I'm trying to do that where I remember. We're picking up a Chronicle again because we'll be going back to Rauk in a short while. Yep.
Chronicle is like best item in these runs that you just use it so much, saves so much time.
Very helpful. Yeah. So for this quest, we need to make a steak sandwich. So for that, we need the sea shanty again. We need a bread dough and beef. Our cooking level's 30, so there's a chance we can still burn things. Yeah. So
also luck based.
I buy extra just in case.
Audience is loving this one. I think this is probably the most famous RuneScape song, right?
Yeah, so from here I buy 5 raw beef and then 2 pots of flour. And I head over to Rauk.
Yeah, there are some quests where you have to go to like really, you know, deep caves in the middle of nowhere and then get an item and then come all the way back and cook it.
Yeah.
And if you burn it, you have to like basically redo the entire quest again to get the item again. It's really daft. So a lot of the times you'll see people like while they're in that area, say if you have to like kill a certain NPC to get their hide and cook it or whatever, I don't know. They'll do it like a bunch of times to hope that they can cook at least one of them.
Yeah. And with some quests, you can drop items on the floor so you can get given them.
Yeah, exactly. And you can say like, oh no, I've lost my whatever, and they'll go, oh, it's fine, we'll give you another one. And you can use it to like duplicate them.
So you're just gonna make some bread dough. Try and get this cooked first try. Yeah, that's first try. And that's fine. So that's actually really good because if I kept burning them, it just makes things quite awkward. And next, I'm going to go to Soul Wars to be able to go to Edgeville again because that's where Marley is.
And again, so even though we just used the Giant's Foundry teleport, it actually resets because we're doing a new quest, which is like an entirely fresh start. So.
Yeah, I think they gave a lot of thought to how they wanted this mode to work. It has been spoken about for many years now.
It is a really cool idea, and it's a shame that it's not as popular. Like, it's not like a big thing, but it makes sense because speedrunning is like a niche.
Yeah.
And it's also like a lot of people did them on release for the rewards, and then they go back to the main game because they want to get back to, you know, doing 3-tick granite for 180 hours to get 200 mil mining or whatever.
So the worlds are quite empty. Yeah. But if you look on the speedrun.com boards, most of the runs are from a few months ago or further from where the mode actually came out. But if you're interested in this, I'll definitely give it a go. Yeah. Like Cook's Assistant, it's only going to take you a couple of minutes.
Yeah, exactly. And like the route is like super easy to learn to get the platinum medal and stuff like that. And you do get cool rewards for doing it. That you they transfer over to like your main account. So you get like a trophy. If you get like all the platinum ones, for example, you get like a big platinum trophy that you can carry around. And you also get like a teleport animation where you like sprint and disappear or whatever, I think. And you also get like a stopwatch, I think, like a golden stopwatch as well. Some cool cosmetic stuff.
So it can be, you are rewarded for it. Like it's not an amazing reward. Like you don't get something that beneficial. It's just more cosmetic. But
I mean, most of it makes sense because like another big reason that people quit RS3 was because of the whole like monetization, you know, pay to win. Because like the whole Squeal of Fortune thing where you can like you can like pay real money and you can get XP in return. So you can essentially buy your way through the game, which for RuneScape standards, you know, people have put like 200 hours into an accomplishment, and then someone comes along and buys their way through it. You know, there was a friend who's a YouTuber who like started a new account and just bought like treasure hunter keys and Squeal of Fortune spins. And he maxed his account in like 10 hours or something.
Very paid.
Which is ridiculous, Obviously, it would cost you an astronomical amount of money, but...
So yeah, this is just a training montage, so we've got time for messages.
Rocky Balboa.
Thank you. We are currently 3/4 of the way to our first milestone. You have about 9 more hours to reach the $10,000 goal. Remember, you can also donate to win grand prizes provided to us from Red Wolf Networks. For example, we have a custom ESA PlayStation 5, a Tears of the Kingdom Switch, and a DualSense Edge PlayStation 5 controller. So keep those donations coming. Thank you.
Oh, we are really training, aren't we?
Yeah. Yeah, you kind of, to the guy who spoke previously, you kind of had to prove your strongness to him.
Yeah.
And this
the barbarians are always about, like being tough lads.
So there's multiple NPCs kind of like motivating you. So he just did 100 push-ups. So.
Simple stuff, really. I don't know about you guys, but I can do 100 push-ups in my sleep. I noticed the cutscene was so long. Like, goodness me.
The good thing with old school is their team, they let them kind of make their own ideas and add them into the game.
Yeah. Yeah, there is a lot of like unique content that's not in RuneScape 3 but is in old school.
Yeah, so
yeah, look at
flex promote. That's to prove that we're strong enough.
That we're absolutely roided.
And then we have to do the emote nearby. Check out.
Because obviously, as everyone knows, you can't physically flex unless you're absolutely ripped.
Oh, I have to go a bit closer.
There we go.
So now we're off to Ice Mountain, as that's where the entrance is that is sealed off, and that's where they think the treasure is. And basically we've got a fight coming up, this kind of rock golem type thing.
The Ice Mountain and White Wolf Mountain, which are like the two ones that go across here, can be quite treacherous as well, especially White Wolf Mountain. That was my moment,
yeah.
You know, when people say about like, oh, I was killed by the Dark Ages or whatever. Yeah, White Wolf Mountain was mine, because you would use it to walk over there to get to Catherby, which is like a really cool like fishing village where you just like sit at the beach with your mates and fish lobsters for like 8 hours a day after school.
See like 20 people there at one time.
Yeah, exactly. And White Wolf Mountain was like your only real way over there, but obviously there's loads of wolves on there that would mess you up if you weren't careful. So
yeah, I died a few times over the.
All your pals would be laughing at you. Hey, Simon, back to Lumbridge with you. I know there is some tech in some of the quests where like, so the way the quests work is obviously you just have like certain objectives, and the objectives can be completed like mid-cutscene. Yeah. So then if you somehow find a way to end the cutscene prematurely, you can just continue on without the cutscene playing. And there's certain ones where you can like close your client in a certain place to like progress on the quest. I don't think it's possible in these ones. I think it's like very specific circumstances.
But it's strange because on this quest you can defeat the monster and then actually leave the building, but the quest won't end.
Yeah.
For some reason they made you be able to click outside of it, but it does nothing to affect the progress.
Yeah. Sometimes you'll just like reset the progress by mistake.
So yeah, they're just sorting out the traps for us so we can go inside.
I think this might be on par with like, is it Wanted? Which is the one that has like a load of unskippable cutscenes.
Yeah, that is a very.
This is up there with this. Yeah.
So yeah, it turns out they're a team of robbers. So she basically found out about this place and wanted to tell all her old robber friends about it. And basically there's no treasure in there, so they're just going to leave us to die.
Not very nice, if you ask me.
Our player is just too trusting of people.
Yeah.
It happens in a lot of other quests as well.
Like, just everyone trusts everyone for some reason. You would think that if you were like a thief, you wouldn't be the most open, trustworthy person. But
So we need to hit 4 of these pillars, and then after each hit we can try and hit the Guardian again to get some extra hits in. Which I'm not doing too well at the moment.
Yeah, this boss is not any kind of threat really. Got plenty of food and stuff like that. Make sure you don't get stacked out. Because it is possible for some animations in the game to sort of stall you. So if you do a certain animation, like, it doesn't work in this one, but let's say, for example, that if Simon started mining, and then the rock golem hit him, it would like stack all the damage until he's out of the animation of mining, and then he would get hit all at once. So you can get like 100 to 0 by certain NPCs if you're not careful.
So you need to be really safe.
Yeah. So you can do a lot of like stalls and things like that.
That fight could have gone a lot quicker. It's all about timing. If you get your timing down, it can be really quick. Also RNG as well, hitting high with the pickaxe.
Yeah, you could just like max hit him every single time and do a ton of damage. And hey, we found some treasure. The irony. 2 billion gold, just like that.
And then
nice and easy.
The wolf just appears out of nowhere.
Yeah. I'm surprised you don't have to give him a beer as well.
And that's below Ice Mountain done. And lastly, we have Dragon Slayer 1. It's called Dragon Slayer 1 now, because there's a Dragon Slayer 2.
Yeah, this used to be just called Dragon Slayer, but now there's Monkey Madness 2, there's Dragon Slayer 2. Is that all of them? I think there's the 2 ones that have like sequels, right?
Yeah.
And those are like proper Grandmaster quests. But I think you can speedrun those, right?
Yeah, you can
at least they're
speedrun
planning
Dragon Slayer 2. Yeah.
But those are like proper end game content. Like it's quite a long quest. I don't know what a good time would be, but like, you know, in terms of average players doing it, it'll probably take like an hour to do just by itself. They're quite long.
Yeah, and Desert Treasure 2 is a new one.
Oh yeah, Desert Treasure 2.
They're coming out with all these sequels. So
and these are all like iconic quests. Like if you've played this game, you know Dragon Slayer, you know Monkey Madness, and you know Desert Treasure.
So there is a lot more quests to speedrun, the members ones as well, but they're a lot more riskier. So I thought it'd be best to kind of show off this game mode for nostalgia.
Yeah,
get a good.
This is what most people are familiar with, right? Because like most people probably don't play the game actively anymore, so they won't know about like a lot of new members quests. So makes sense. Yeah, so this is like the Elvarg, which is the dragon that we're gonna fight, is essentially like the final boss of free to play. You know, like there's no bigger challenge really. Like technically nowadays there are free to play bosses, like Obor and whatever the other one's called, the Moss Giant boss. But Elvarg is certainly like the big boss for sure. So
yeah, we go to the major arena now, so we're gonna buy runes for the quest run.
Yeah, so this is where you'll see like the major arena is technically a massive detour. It's in the wilderness, which is you know, very, very deep away. We're all the way at the top of the map now. And also deep wilderness is considered very dangerous because you can actually be attacked by other players as well. So if you're in the main game and you went here, there's a good chance that there's somebody camping the lever.
Yeah, people love to camp out here.
They'd kill you without defense and then like type some slurs in the chat. Yeah, classic RuneScape. But yeah, but the good thing about coming all the way here is that it has a rune shop and you can purchase loads of runes that you wouldn't usually be able to purchase at decent prices anywhere else. And it's not that inconvenient to get to because of the levers that you can use to teleport.
And also the Soul Walls portal, you can use that and then go over. So
exactly.
I'm buying specific amounts of different runes because I'm choosing to fight Elvarg using an Addy sword. And the other option is to use a maple shortbow, which can be a bit faster.
But it is also
more riskier.
far riskier, yeah. So the short bow approach is essentially what you have to do is you have to. So short bows are two-handed, right? But the problem is that the entire point of this quest is that you get an anti-dragon shield. Because without it, if you try and fight a dragon, the dragon breath does like ridiculous damage to your dragon fire. Like it will like one-shot you basically. So you need to have some kind of protection against Elvarg's like fire breath attack. So what you would do is you would wield a shield, but the issue is that you can't wield a maple shortbow and a shield at the same time, because it would unequip your shield if you did that. Whereas the adamant sword is one-handed, so you can have the shield on the whole time. So what you would do is if you were an absolute Chad and you were going for world record times, you would take the maple shortbow with you, and you could take the anti-dragonfire shield in your inventory, and then you would attack Elvarg, and then you would attack with the maple shortbow, and then when Elvarg attacks, you switch to the shield to tank the damage, and then you switch and re-attack, switch. If you mess it up, you're dead instantly, basically. If you make a single mistake, it's death. And Elvarg is quite far away, buried in Crandor, which is like quite a remote location. So a death is huge, in terms of time loss. Yeah. So it's much more safe and, marathon friendly to just go with the adamant sword. Then you can keep the shield on the whole time. But it doesn't mean that the boss is easy by any means. Like, Addy sword is not that good.
No, it isn't.
It's pretty weak, but it's the best thing that you can buy.
Buy quickly, yeah.
Because it might sound silly. You might be able to think like, oh, can we not make like better armor or anything like that? The answer is no, because like until the mining and smithing rework happened, which was like happened in RS3 a few years ago. I don't know if they're planning to do it in old school or if they already have. I don't know, but basically now, in order to make level 40 armor or weapons, you need like a maxed out smithing skill. And that's obviously we don't have that. Yeah. So you would think that you would need only like 40 smithing to make level 40 armor, but you don't. You need 99 to make a rune plate body, which is, pretty silly.
So we've got the anti-dragon shield from
my boy the Duke.
Which is obviously, like Ben just said, very useful. Yep. We need it, especially using melee. And we're going to buy Study Chaps and Study Body here, just for a little bit of mage protection.
Yeah, so this might seem like counterintuitive, because why are we buying range armor if we're planning to melee down the boss? And the simple answer is that in old school RuneScape, it doesn't really matter what armor you wear, because the armor usually just gives you defensive qualities. Technically speaking, they do give you minus attack accuracy sometimes. But for example, this range armor that we've got here, it just gives us magic defense, and obviously Elvarg is going to smack us with magic quite a lot, so magic defense is going to be very useful. Whereas if we were to take on like full plate armor, we would have no magic defense and we would just get slaughtered.
So basically, we're working towards getting the map to Crandor, so we're doing...
Yeah, gonna do a bunch of like miscellaneous tests. Yeah. The big thing regarding combat in this game is there's something called the combat triangle. If you're familiar with MMOs, you probably know what I mean. But it's like just a triangle of different attack styles and how they benefit each other and what's good against what. So melee is like super effective against range. Range is super effective against magic, and magic is super effective against melee. So if we're going into a magic fight, we want magic defense, because if we just go full melee, then we lose because of the combat triangle, basically. Obviously, you can, go ahead and win anyway if you're good enough, but it definitely can set you to a disadvantage.
So will the game crash here? No, it won't. Okay, so the past 2 times I practiced teleporting to house, it's crashed, but it didn't seem to do it that time. That's
very weird. I don't know why it would do that, but strange.
So now we're doing the maze, and we're looking for the rat with the longest tail.
Yeah.
I think is this one over here.
Yeah, so there's like a number of there's a number of red doors. So we need to kill a certain NPC on every single floor to get an appropriately colored key, and then we go through the door.
I'm just making sure I'm clicking the
right
door so I don't lose the key.
If you go through, the key disappears whether you guess right or wrong. So if you guess wrong, you then have to come right back and start all over again. So it's usually like a trial and error puzzle, unless you notice that the NPCs look slightly different. Obviously, if you're using a guide, it'll tell you that. If you're using like a Runelight and Quest Helper, it will, put like a outline around the one that you're supposed to hit.
A lot easier.
Yeah.
So we're going through a few doors, and then fighting Melzar, and then a lesser demon. And like I mentioned earlier, before the quest, you can attack the lesser demon, get low health, and then come back to it later.
Yeah. The lesser demon is like level 80 something, so it's, aside from Elvarg, it's like the biggest threat, because the mage isn't a threat at all, really. So the lesser demon is potentially tricky. So if you're wondering why Simon picked up a bunch of like seemingly random runes, this is one of the reasons. This is Crumble Undead, which is a spell that does like a lot more damage against undead creatures, such as skeletons, for example, or zombies, things like that. So you can use it to kill this thing, in theory, a lot faster than the way you would kill it with melee. Obviously, if you get unlucky, you can just splash a bunch of times, but yeah, in theory, it's faster. And then he also has a bunch of lore runes and a bunch of elemental runes, which you can actually use to teleport to various places, as long as you have the magic level to do so. I don't know what magic level they give you in this, but it's at least like 30 plus.
I think 50.
Oh, it gives you 50, okay.
Yeah.
So you can
40 agility is very helpful as well.
Yeah, so you can teleport pretty much anywhere in the game.
Which is why being able to buy the lore runes.
Yeah, exactly. So we made a slight detail to Major Arena, but now we can teleport all around the map, basically. So it's much faster overall.
Also, this zombie has mad bass, so you should be able to hear it every time it makes a sound.
It has what, sorry?
Mad bass.
Oh, yeah. It's strange.
Yeah, so we got the key on the first one, so you can get it on the first one or the second one. So now I'm going to kill Melzar. So he's going to drop the magenta key.
Yeah, and he has like really weird and quirky like dialogue lines that he says all the time for some reason. I don't know what the... I guess because he's mad, yeah.
And I'm going to leave the prayer on here because I'm just going to use the prayer altar and numbers. So.
Yep. He dropped a cabbage at your feet.
Yeah, for those wondering, I'm doing the speedrun in a members world because the speedruns are members only. That's why I'm able to have stamina potions. But for those who don't know, energy potions are actually free to play now.
Yeah, the stamina ones you wouldn't be able to use if you were doing this actually free to play. But the stamina potions don't make the quest easier, it just makes it so you have to walk less, basically.
So that fight went a bit quicker than it usually does. So now we've just got a lesser demon to kill.
Yep.
I'll just lure it over here.
Yeah. Luckily you're in a tight corridor and there's a very easy, like sort of safe area here as well. And you can do what is called, this isn't quite flinching, but it also like, this is more like safe spotting. But yeah, basically all that it is that the lesser demon is, it's too big to fit through where Simon is. So it's trying to attack him, but it can't get there. So then, but because we have line of sight of the lesser demon and we can use magic, we can actually like stand back and kill them without taking any damage.
So by doing this, lower levels are able to complete the quest quite easily. They're able to self-spot Elval.
Yeah. And also there's a thing called flinching, which you could do. So you could flinch this if you're using melee exclusively. And basically what it is that you would wait until the enemy's health bar disappears, so it's not like ready to attack you. And then you would run in, attack it, and then run out again before it can attack you, because it has to wait a certain time before it attacks you. And that would just mean it so you could, use melee but not take any damage, essentially safe spotting it, but with melee as well.
Yeah, so it's crashed. I don't know why.
That's very strange. I don't know why the game crashes like that. It's weird.
Sure, yeah, the game's...
Yeah, it should be fine. Yeah.
But the timer continues running even though you're logged out.
Yeah.
So obviously we lost a bit of time there.
Yeah.
But it's not too bad.
Another good thing about the official like RuneScape client is that you don't have to like potentially leak your email or password or anything, because it's all like already put in the launcher. So you can just press the button and you can like click whatever account you want to log into and then just press play and it will put you right back in. So
I'm just going to mine some clay and do some other bits. So if you've got any time for messages, that'd be good.
I would like to remind you that we are raising money for Alzheimerfonden this event. Alzheimer's has no current cure, but treatments for symptoms are available and research continues. Although current treatments cannot stop Alzheimer's from progressing, they can temporarily slow the worsening of dementia symptoms and improve quality of life for those with Alzheimer's and their caregivers. So please, donate and help the charity and all of that good stuff. Thank you.
So we got our first map piece from killing Less Demon, and then some goblin called Wormbrain has the next map piece. So we're able to use telekinetic grab to pick up that piece, but I don't have enough space, so I'm just gonna drop the pickaxe.
Yeah, so this is a spell that you can use to pick up something remotely, even like through a a jail cell or something. Your other option is you can bribe him, I think, but it's way faster than
that's
kill
like
him.
10,000.
Yeah.
So we're going to buy the boat, which we'll be using to get to Crandor. And then we get to hear Sea Shanty 2 again.
Yeah, so we need to buy the boat. We have just enough money to do so, and then also we need to fix it up because the boat isn't in great shape. So that's what the planks and stuff are for that Simon got earlier. And we also need to find someone to captain the ship. And we take Ned from Draenor.
Ned from Draenor.
And Ned actually says YOLO way before YOLO was a thing. Did you know that? In the quest dialogue, he literally says YOLO. And that was in, when did Dragon Slayer 1 came out? 2002? Something like that.
So I'm just going to get prayer here.
Yeah. RuneScape
sure
invented YOLO. That's a fun little history fact for you.
And then we're going to visit Count Check again, who we're able to use.
Yeah, because we've like reset again, because we're on a completely different like instance and everything like that. It treats us as a new account essentially, so we can use Count Check. But if Simon were to use him again in the same quest, it wouldn't work. There's no option to do so.
So we're going to make an unfired bowl, because for the last map piece, it's kind of a riddle we have to solve.
Yeah, with the Oracle, or whatever her name is. We have to put like a lot of items into a door underneath Ice Mountain, I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like under the Dwarven Mine. So
oh yeah, the Dwarven Mine, yeah.
Quite a random selection of items, that's why I've been...
Yeah. But again, if you know what the items are, you can just like talk to the Oracle, she gives you the riddle, and you just instantly know how to solve it and just go there straight away.
I can imagine it being quite fun to learn
actually
about
figure
these
it out.
quests and figure it out yourself.
Yeah.
Kind of like when a quest is released on the first day.
Yeah. It's always good until you mash space through like critical dialogue, and then you have to go all the way back to like figure out what it was because the quest guide doesn't tell you or whatever.
Does that happen sometimes? If you don't have an item, you just spam in space, and then you realise.
Yeah, yeah. Because they're like asking for something, and you're just like, "Sorry, I don't have it," and you just, "Sorry, I don't have it. Sorry, I don't have it." Yeah. Yeah. It is nice that we've raised so much money for Alzheimer's fund already, because we've. You know, it's a disease that, you know, affects pretty much everyone. Like most people have or know somebody, like a family member or a friend that might have, you know, experienced it. So it's awesome that we've been able to put so much money together just on the first day, and well on our way to 10K.
Yeah, really good cause.
Yeah.
Like if we could hit 8,000 in the next few hours or so, that'd be really good. And remember, there's incentives to put your money towards as well.
Yeah. Simon solved that riddle so quick. Never seen anything like it. The Oracle's like mind completely blown. Like who is this like genius that I've just came to? But the RuneScape lore is that basically we're like the chosen one, right? Like we're like the world guardian that's like protecting the Gillinor, which is like the earth of RuneScape.
Exactly.
So yeah, like it makes perfect sense canonically that we're just like infinite knowledge genius. But in reality, we just cheat by looking things up ahead of time. Yeah.
So yeah, we're just going to run over to Ned to chat to him to ask us to navigate the boat for us.
Yeah.
And then we'll be on our way to the boat to go to Crandor to fight Elvarg.
Stamina potions coming in clutch here because we did have a lot of items, so otherwise our run energy would be way down, but
yeah,
makes it way easier.
Inventory management could be a lot better.
I mean, it's the little things. the important things is that you massacre the bosses. That's the most important part. But yeah, so if you saw Simon there, he selected a prayer that you hadn't seen before. Those are called protection prayers. So this one there's protect from magic that you unlock at level 37. There's protect from range, which is 41, 40, something like that. And then protect from melee is level 43 prayer. So that's like a big milestone that new accounts get, is the protection prayers. Because in old school RuneScape, it actually protects you from all of that specific damage. So for example, if you go up to a magician and you pray protect from magic, he will do no damage to you. Obviously there are exceptions, like we're still going to take damage from Elvarg because certain enemies hit you either through prayer or they might just do reduced damage through prayer. But then also Elvarg's, I don't know if this is true, quote me if I'm wrong, or let me know if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure Elvarg's damage is like typeless, right? Yeah. So you take damage no matter what. But then also, Magic Prayer actually helps nullify Dragon Fire, right? Yeah. It doesn't entirely protect you, but Magic Prayer plus the Dragon Fire shield will greatly reduce the damage from the Dragon Fire.
If there was a way for us to get an anti-fire potion, we would be using that. And also,
because that would give you like complete protection.
And when getting hit with a Dragon Fire Breath, it drains prayer as well.
Yeah.
So that's
if you
why
could
we
get a
need good
potion, you
hits.
would not even need to use the shield, so you could use the bow and take minimal damage. You know, like potion plus magic prayer would be good, but
So
here
you
we
got some
are.
classic
on the way.
ship
Yep.
kind of music going on there.
And here's a very sad death if you're into the RuneScape lore. Look at this incredible CGI. And the whatever his name is, like the sailor boy gets wrecked. Spoilers. Cabin boy,
Jenkins.
rest in peace. There he goes. We'll see him in Lumbridge. And also, less importantly, our ship gets destroyed.
Yeah.
So now we're stranded on Crandor. But there is a very super secret passageway back out. So if you're going to do this quest, if you're new to RuneScape, this is the biggest piece of advice that Simon and I can give to you. Once you go through here, if you just go and fight Elvarg and die or have to teleport out or whatever, you would have to then rebuild the ship, I think, right? And then come all the way back again.
Yeah.
But there is actually a passageway that you can open from the inside all the way to the south where Elvarg is. And if you open that up, then you can just go through the passageway, which is way, way quicker.
Yeah,
So there's
very
Elvarg.
useful.
Yeah. So this is, towards the end of the quest, this is like the final thing that we have to do. And, you know, all that you have to do, I say all because it sounds like it's really simple, is you just have to bring Elvarg's head to whatever the guy's name is in Edgeville, Oziak or something.
Yeah.
There. This is the big final boss. I'll let you concentrate, Simon. There you can see, taking a lot of damage. And the adamant sword is, you know, it's pretty weak.
Yeah.
So with any luck, we will get melee hits, which is good because the dragon fire does far more damage. So as you can see, he's not taking a lot of melee damage. The dragon fire is where you start taking big damage. So with any luck, we will get good hits ourselves, and Elvarg will not hit us a lot.
Yeah, not
With
so
the dragon
good
fire.
so far, but
Yeah, this is not looking too good.
I've run out of prayer already. I would one tick prayer, which is picking the prayers so it doesn't drain prayer.
Yeah.
You're turning them on and off quick enough.
Yeah.
But if I'm still getting hit by the dragonfire anyway and draining
Yeah, it's not worth it. Yeah. But this game works on like a tick-based system, so every 0.6 seconds, like an action happens and like responds to the server or whatever. So you can turn the prayers on and off at like a certain interval every single tick, and the game like doesn't register that you've used the prayers and it needs to drain your prayer points until the next tick. So as long as you continue being tick perfect, you can use no prayer. But yeah, as you said, you'll keep getting it drained by the dragonfire anyway, so...
Yeah,
doesn't really help
Elvarg
you.
seem to be meeting us a lot here.
Yeah, which is good.
Very good.
Yeah.
And what I'm gonna, because you can actually finish this quest without collecting the head, you just need to teleport as soon as Elvarg dies.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because the game's kind of registered you as killing Elvarg.
Yeah.
But I need to get the timing right. It needs to be literally as soon as that last hit goes on it.
Yeah.
But obviously I want to be safe because I don't want to leave Elvarg on 1 HP.
Yeah. If you teleport out, that's not great. Yeah. So now we're getting much better hits.
Yeah,
As you can
so I'm
see,
just
Simon
gonna
has
eat to full just to-
plenty of food. Yeah. Better to be safe than sorry, for sure. So there are, if you want to like master this game, there are a number of things that you can do to like tick manipulate and you know, manipulate like the AI and stuff like that. So like one thing that you can do is you can like walk underneath an NPC.
Yeah, so I managed to get the timing correct on that.
Good.
And then there's a little delay here where the
You're
player would
supposed to be
collect the
taking,
head,
collecting the head. Yeah.
And then we know we've done it because it says you've
Nice.
defeated Elvarg.
Now just running up to Edgeville and that's it, right? Awesome.
So that went quite well considering I've got quite a bit of food left. The
Yeah.
start of the fight was a bit slow, but
Yeah, a death to Elvarg would have been pretty bad, but you had enough time if you did die, so
this is good time as well. It's under estimate.
yeah, good stuff. Proud of you, Simon.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks for the commentary. It's kind of like this is the first run I've done solo. At
Oh, you
ESA.
did well. It's difficult to also like talk and play as you're doing it. Like I've tried that before, and it's certainly not easy.
Yeah, so the commentary from Ben's been very helpful.
Oh yeah, very
It's
well.
allowed me to focus as well.
Any final words?
Yeah, like I said,
Sounds like a threat almost, isn't it? Any last words?
If you want to check this out, go on speedrun.com or check out the old school RuneScape wiki. Like I said, some of the quests are quite short, so it can be quite fun to go through them. So
That's
just
the button
talk to Oziak, and that's time. Yeah. Thanks everyone for watching. Thanks for your crowd, and thanks again, Ben.
No worries.
Yeah, like I said, you can easily find resources to start speedrunning this quest. Remember to keep donating to Alzheimer Funding and get to 8K. Yeah, thanks a lot.
Let's do it. Enjoy the rest of the event.
GG's, thank you for that amazing showcase. I bet old school RuneScape is a trip down memory lane for a lot of people. We will have a short intermission, don't go anywhere. Next run coming up is Vengeful Guardian Moonrider. Stay tuned.